Resume, Mr. President.
Session resumed.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery, my fellow citizens, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Great pleasure and honor to be here this afternoon to present before the floor our joint committee report of the Committee on Justice and Human Rights, jointly with the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, chaired by Senator Lacson. Mr. President, this is an offshoot of the resolutions or the filed by Senators De Lima and later on by Senator Trillanes on the matter of extrajudicial killings. And I quote, a resolution directing the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights to investigate in aid of legislation the recent rampant extrajudicial killings and summary executions of suspected criminals, to strengthen the mechanisms of accountability of law enforcers, and to institute corrective legislative measures to ensure full respect for basic human rights, especially the right to life. That is the title of the resolution. That is the framework upon which the committee, later on, which succeeded Senator De Lima, embarked on its mission to investigate. Later on, another resolution will be filed after presenting a witness that had no affidavit, Mr. Bato, filed by Senator Trillanes. And it says, under 151, resolution urging the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the alleged extrajudicial or summary killings purportedly committed by the Davao Death Squad with the intention of coming up with remedial legislation to ensure the protection of the people's basic human rights and their rights to life and the observance of due process of law in the government's conduct of its campaign against terrorism, drugs, and street crimes. Acting on that, Mr. President, there were 6 hearings conducted by your committee. The first 3 hearings were conducted by and under the supervision of Chairman, at that time, the Honorable Senator Laila De Lima. After 3 hearings, a change was undertaken, and reluctantly, I accepted the committee chairmanship of the Committee on Justice after Senator De Lima was removed in a reorganization of the committee. The only person I recommended in that committee, Mr. President, and it was a request upon those who were asking me to do so, and I said reluctantly I accepted, was to include Senator De Lima as a member of that committee. There was no other recommendation made by this representation at that time, and I just want to remind the body that that was my only move when I accepted it, my only request, so that the credibility of the Senate will not be stained by partisanship. Having said that, Mr. President, we embarked, as I said, on 6 hearings. And let me just say that in my executive summary, I said, kinakailangan mapuksa ng gobyerno ang patuloy na paglaganap ng patayan sa ating bansa sa kasalukuyan at sa mga nagdaang taon. Kailangan alam natin, mga Pilipino at pati na ng buong mundo, na tayo ay may pagpapahalaga sa buhay at dignidad ng sinumang tao at may mabilis na katarungan para sa lahat. Sa ganitong paraan, may babalik ng tao ang tiwala at kumpiyansa nito sa pulis at sa gobyerno. Quote unquote, Mr. President. Now, Mr. President, I do not have a prepared text. I was just told that I could sponsor it today, so pardon me if I deliver this extemporaneously, which has been the usual thing coming from the heart. And having had 6 hearings, after knowing what has happened, we will deliver that as I present it. Mr. President, we were called upon to investigate whether indeed there were rampant and, killings in the country. And indeed, we said yes. But we went the extra mile. Is there a state-sponsored killing? And if we're to look at that, we have to look for evidence to show that there was testimony to show either that President Duterte or General Bato or the Department of Local Government had given orders verbally to some people in the department or among the police forces or among any other group that they're ordering it as a matter of policy. Second, Mr. President, there was no presentation on the part of those who presented the witnesses. And I will say this. When we took over, Mr. President, we did not miss a beat. There was a scheduled hearing, and we continued on with the hearings. We did not postpone. That is a matter of record. We continued with Mr. Matubato. And for the record, Mr. President, Senator De Lima, when she started the hearings, called on some witnesses allegedly coming from the Commission on Human Rights, or coming from the Human Rights. And after 2 testimonies were given, immediately she went into calling a new witness, in spite of the fact that there were others in the Commission on Human Rights, supposedly witnesses. And when we studied the affidavit, they were all witnesses to killings, Mr. President. There was no proof, no scintillo evidence to show that there were orders made by any member of the government, especially those who make policy, that there was an order to commit extrajudicial killings as a matter of policy. And so we went on with that, Mr. President, and when this representation took over, like I said, we continued with the hearings and presented all the testimonies of people that were invited. In other words, these were the witnesses of Senator De Lima. Initially, they said these were not his witnesses, such as Mr. Batubato, and eventually it was proven, and she would admit later on that she was presenting it. In fact, Mr. President, Mr. Batubato is no stranger to Senator De Lima, and vice versa. Mr. Batubato was a witness under the Witness Protection Program in 2014, when Secretary De Lima was still Secretary of Justice. And when he left, Secretary De Lima was still there. He left the Witness Protection Program, and as you know, being a former Secretary of Justice yourself, Senator Dillon, you know that the Witness Protection Program requires that the witness be released from being a Witness Protection Program by virtue of a signature showing acquiescence by the Secretary of Justice. Having said that, Mr. President, Senator De Lima was aware that there was a witness such as Mr. Matubato. Having said that, she was also CHR for 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years, and Secretary of Justice for 6 years, or almost 6 years, until she decided to run at the latter part of 2015 when she filed her certificate of candidacy. Having said that, Mr. President, let me just put it this way. We found that tens of thousands of people have been killed every year since 1999. And if we are going to cite extrajudicial killings, Mr. President, it is a known fact that the State Department of the United States of America has been sending us missives to the Department of Foreign Affairs about extrajudicial killings perpetrated in the country as early as 1999. In fact, if you look at the statistics, and that is why the title of this presentation is Killings with Impunity, A Time to Act. Ayan po ang nakalagay dyan, 2001, murders and homicides totaled 9,000, 2002, a total 10,000, 10,000 in 2003, 2004, 9,859, and so forth and so on. It spiraled to 2009, where they had 14,295 killings, 2010, 12,353 killings, 11,000 plus in 2011, in 2012, 11,500, 2013, 16,160 killings, and 2014, 13,105, 2015, 12,481, and as of November or October at the time, 2016, we had 8,499 or 4,409 killings, Mr. President, or a total of 177,000 killings over a period of almost 16 years. So killings, there are aplenty, Mr. President. Marami talagang pinapatay. Ang tanong, meron ba nangyayari? Sari-saring patayan ang ginagawa. Noong araw, panahon pa ni Mr. Marcos, ang sinasabi, meron tinatawag na salvaging. Napakarami po niyan. wala rin tayo narinig na resulta ng investigasyon. Meron tinatawag lately, yung tinatawag lang riding in tandem by motorcycles. Thousands have been killed by riding in tandem, but rarely do we hear any solution to any investigation, except very recently, and I applaud the police of Mindoro, they captured 2 policemen, one a lieutenant, and awarded one at that, who killed a crusader by the name of Luz in Mindoro, and they were captured by fellow policemen in the next town. And you can see the Manila Bulletin presentation there showing that motorcycle riding in tandem assailants killed the Citizens Crime Watch Regional Counsel, Ms. Zenaida Luz. The assailants were 2 policemen, Mr. President. And we investigated that. Mr. Lacson, Senator Lacson, and I both made presentations to that effect, and that was taken up in the hearing. So killings, there are plenty, no doubt. Killings solved, very sparse, Mr. President. And this is where we go to the crux of the matter. We have created laws here in this country which require, if it is a police-related killing, for an example, the creation of the IAS. But the IAS through the years have become IWAS. IWAS po na mag-solve ng crime ng police under amendment under Republic Act number 8551. At ito po ay hindi ginagawa ng IAS sapagkat tatagal ang kaso. Actually, it takes about 125 days. Siguro naman po, alam ni Senator Trillanes because nanonood siya doon sa hearing, nagtatanong siya, na nung pinatay yung Albuera Mayor, ando ng baril, ando ng extraordinary amount of force, 24 policemen, ando ng ebidensya, pinaluhod yung mga pulis at mga gwardya, ando yung ebidensya na pumasok, ang nagbarilan di umano, nakuha yung baril, nakuha yung mga bala, nakuha na 2, pinalabas muna nila yung preso, at tinepok, pinatay si Mayor Espinosa. No matter how bad one is, we are still a government of laws and not a government of men. Hindi po sinunod yun. Pinatay rin yung isa. At nakikita nyo, yan ang naging daan na naglakas ng loob na ang ating maraming mga kapulisan, hindi lang ilan, kaya nasabi pa natin po na bago yun, pinatay rin sa Alvarez sa kulungan, pareho ng modus operandi, may search warrant di umano na hindi naman kailangan, sapagkat yan ay hindi kailangan sa isang pitan ng gobyerno. Pinatay rin yung isang mayor doon sa pareho sa baybay 1 week before, pareho, pero hanggang ngayon ang IWAS pa rin hanggang sa maunahan na ng National Bureau of Investigation. Kaya makikita natin ang problema ay yun. Madali po natin sabihin sa committee, o sige, ayan, payag na kami, extrajudicial killing, payag nga ho kami. Pero ang tanong ko sa inyo, papayag ba kami na sabihin natin wala namang katibayan, wala namang ebidensya na sinasabi na ito ay policy ng ating gobyerno? Bago po tayo magsalita niyan, tandaan po natin na pag sinabi ng Senado na may extrajudicial killing na sanction ng gobyerno, automatic, merong repercussions siya sa buong mundo. Masisira ang ating gobyerno. At pati na rin ang Senado, masisira sapagkat naglalabas tayo ng ebidensya rito ng isang conclusion na hindi covered ng ebidensya na nagpapatunay na ito ay talagang ginagawa ng gobyerno as a matter of policy o isang pulisiya ng gobyerno. Wala po kami nakuha dyan sa tinatawag na ebidensya na kailangan natin. Ganun na rin po doon sa dangerous drugs law. At ito ay gusto ko sanang pakinggan nyo maigi ang aking sasabihin. Paano po ba nag-umpisa ito? Bakit nung ma-appoint si Secretary De Lima, mahalal siya na Senator in charge of the Committee on Justice, ang una niyang i-final ay yung tinatawag na extrajudicial killings. Tanong po, hindi kaya po dahil siya ay talagang tinutugis ng administrasyon? That we cannot refuse. That we cannot deny. Naghahabulan sila ng ating Pangulo. At tila baga maraming lumalabas sa kanya, pero maaaring ang nangyari at bakit natin siya tinanggal, hindi ko pa rin maintindihan. Alam ko kung ba't natin sila tinanggal, nag-aagawan ng mikropono, nawala ng control, nakikita na ang investigasyon ay patungo laban sa presidente. At syempre, hindi naman yun ang pakay ng committee kagad. Kailangan patulayan muna. Pero ano nangyari pagkatapos yun, ng Presidente Matabato, tandaan po natin, walang affidavit in violation of the rules. Walang affidavit. Investigasyon po yan. Dapat may affidavit. Nagitla na lang po ang committee na biglang merong bato-bato na who, I would say, admitted many things at could not prove many of his allegations. And having said that, nung nangyari yan, ay biglang pumasok ang isang resolusyon na biglang imbestigahin natin. Nung hindi mapatunayan na meron doon sa unang mga testigo, mukhang naglabas ngayon ng resolution na hinihingi naman ay nung panahon ni Duterte, meron raw dangerous, mayroong Davao Death Squad na tinatawag. At yung Davao Death Squad na yan ay dapat imbestigahin. Wala po kaming pinigil. Inimbestiga po natin yan. Dinala namin lahat yan at pati sila siguro nagulat dahil lahat dinala po natin. At ano po ang nangyari? Hindi lang napatunayan si Mr. Bato-Bato was not just inconsistent but he was lying. Sabi niya CHDF siya. Meron kami katibayan na sila sabi hindi siya CHDF ng colonel o in charge. Ayan po, nakalagay yan certification ng Benjamin General. General ba? General na in charge dito sa tinatawag natin Army Chief Public Affairs on Bato-Bato's CAFGU membership. Papatunay na hindi siya member yan. Yan ang unang sinabi. Sumunod, siya ay member ng tinatawag na CHDF. Napatunayan rin hindi siya member. Pagkatapos meron siyang sinasabi na yung mga police involved doon sa killing nung si King na nagkabali rin. Yung pala sa loob ng hotel pinatay, sa loob ng opisina pinatay, ay hindi sa labas ng McDonald's. At ang totoo niyan, sinabi pa niya doon sa isa na isang Medina ay involved doon sa raid na binomba nila yung Muslim mosque. At ang lumabas po doon ay hindi pa pala pulis si Medina. Pero inakasuhan niya na si Medina kasama sa pagbomba. Nakalagay ko yan lahat sa TSN. At pagkatapos, ano po sinabi niya? May mga sinabi siya na si Sally Macdum, yung kanyang bilas, common law, bilas, ay sabi niya, terorista samantalang lumalabas na nagninegosyo sila. Yung nga ang pinagkaguluhan namin, ang sinabi ko yung material concealment, dahil bagamat alam namin may NBI investigation na rin-recommend siya, ang hindi namin alam ay may hawak si Senator De Lima at yung iba na ang pangalan ng mga pulis na nakalagay doon, o hindi man lang pulis, ay hindi yung mga pulis na inimbita nila. Katulad nila Cañas, sinabi niya, malakas kay Duterte. 2 beses sinabi pinatay yung kanyang kapatid at yung kanyang kapatid nirecommend niya hindi tinanggap ni Duterte. Sa madaling sabi, walang lakas at wala naman talagang sinasabi na siya'y kasama sa patayan ni Bato-Bato o gano'n rin sila Cañas na pumapatay sila. Madaling sabi po ay napakaraming pagkakataon na pinagbigyan natin si Bato-Bato na dapat itong Senado pag kami nagsisinungaling, dapat talaga mapalabas yan. At yan nga ho ang napalabas. Meron pa rin ng ibang mga ebidensya na pwede natin sabihin tungkol kay Bato-Bato na masasabi natin na mukhang hindi naganap ng gusto ang kanyang pagtitestify sapagkat huling-huli lahat ang kanyang ginagawa. So sa madaling sabi po, meron man Davao Death Squad, lahat po na sinabi niya, pati sinabi niya na siya ay bodyguard ni Paulo Duterte at ng pamilya, yun ay itinanggi naman. At wala na rin siyang sinabi na kontra doon. Sapagkat nung tatawagin na namin siya nung gabi. And let me just say that we had a record of 14 hours of marathon hearings and then another marathon hearing followed. And then when we were about to call Mr. Bato-Bato to have it, they say, ano nangyari? Nawala po si Mr. Bato-Bato. Pinauwi. Siguro naman po simple courtesy. Simpleng kortesiya lang sabihin, nung nagpauwi na si Senator Trillanes, si Chairman, Mr. Chairman, pwede ko naman pauwiin. Itong taong ito at delikado ang buhay niya, 8:30 in the evening, pinauwi niya. Dapat naman sana nagkortesiya na sabihin, yan. Yan ang nakalagay sa akin. Boss Senator Trillanes, staff said that Bato-Bato had to leave. Yan po nakalagay sa HCS, dito ata, HCS ba yan? At security won't be, so his security won't be compromised. I told his office we want to finish Davao Police tonight to start with CHR tomorrow, and they understand. Pero wala, umalis si Bato-Bato. Kaya nagkagulo ng konti doon, At yun na nga, nag-walk out. Pero tatandaan ko, sabi ni Senator Pacquiao, at binubulungan rin ako ni Senator Lacson na i-terminate na, suspindi na. Kapag nagsisinungaling itong mga ito, nilalaro lang tayo nito mga ito. At nasa TSL rin po yan. Kay may Senator Pacquiao, pati kay Senator Soto. Pero sabi ko, wag. Sabi ko, na-overlook lang, oversight lang ni Senator De Lima. Napakahinaon po ni Senator De Lima nung panahon na yon. Pero nang biglang dumating si Senator Trillanes, medyo nag-iba ang timplada at medyo nataas na ang boses. At sabi, mag-walk out. Ang sabi ko, I am ready to continue. Ayaw niya mag-continue. Nag-walk out ho yan. Kaya sa tingin ko, pag nag-walk out ka, unang-una, ang pikon talo, matas mahalaga, yan ay misbehavior na dapat litisin natin kung kailangan. However, upon a message sent to us na gusto mag-apologize at gusto makipagkita, tinanggap ko po ang apology ni Senator Trillanes. Hindi ko po pinablicize. Umasok sa aking opisina, doon lahat ng testigo, at nagkamaya kami, at hindi na raw niya gagawin yung ginawa niya ngayon. Ganon rin si Senator De Lima, about 4 or 5 days later, nagpunta rin sa opisina at nag-apologize. And being a gentleman, sabi ko, wala akong ipa-file na sa Ethics Committee. However, Mr. President, when you look at all these incidents, apart from the fact that there is no state-sponsored policy to commit killing. Now, let me just be clear here. Walang state-sponsored killings kaming nadiskubre. Maaring meron. And I repeat that. Maaring meron. Pero walang lumabas na testimony na sinasabing may state-sponsored killings. At, huwag mo ako tinuturo, may I put it on record that I'm being pointed at by Senator Trillanes. Maybe there's nobody behind me. And let me just continue with this. Whether or not the report killings beginning mid-1990s in Davao were allegedly perpetrated by a Davao Death Squad. Wala kami nakuha ganyan. And then, of course, we went to our other finding. Sapagkat tumuloy kami doon, at pagtuloy namin doon, ano po nangyari? Ang nangyari po doon ay tinawag namin ang mga kapulisan at iba't ibang lugar. Mga chief of police ng 7 top 10 cities, Mr. President, and provinces. At nung mangyari yan, napatunayan na maraming killings, napatunayan rin at tinanong ko, hindi kaya lumalakas ang loob ng mga kriminal at naghahanda sila labanan kayo pagka kayo ay lumalapit sa kanila. Ang sabi, totoo po yan, pwede po mangyari yan. Meron ba mga pulis na pumapatay? Meron po. Dahil they are trying to create distance because maaaring mga alaga nila na tulak yung mga pulis na yan. At yan ay hindi naman kaila sa inyo sapagkat ako'y nagsalita dito nung sinabi ko sa pagbubunyag ng Presidente Duterte ng 5 general, sigurado maraming mamamatay dyan sapagkat talagang pipigilin nila lahat yung mga tulak nila at maaaring mamatay ang mga yan dahil ayaw nila na magkaroon ng testigo. Nakita natin ang nangyari sa Leyte, sunod-sunod na patayan yan. Bakit pinapatay? Anong motive? Maaaring may testigo. Narinig yung sinabi ko kay Kerwin mismo. Kasalanan mo ang pagkamatay ng tatay mo. Sabi mo hindi kasama pero ako naniniwala kasama siya. Dahil kako hindi papatayin niya kung walang nalalaman at walang ituturo. At lahat ng kasama mo pinapatay dahil maaaring may ituro. 6 na ata ang mga sistema, ang mga kasama niya ang pinatay dahil palagi ko may ituturo. Sa madaling sabi, many killings with impunity to the years after the president have not been resolved by the police. That's our third finding. Leaving our people feeling unprotected, insecure, fearful and cynical about the ability of the police to protect and serve them. There is an urgent need to undertake reforms in law enforcement and strengthen the criminal justice system to fortify the rule of law. Ang sinasabi ko po rito, talaga may killings, pero dapat ayusin natin ang batas. Yan po ang pakay ng Committee in Aid of Legislation. Pero ano po ang nangyari? Napatunayan natin yung mga sinabi ng kapulisan, kaya meron tayong mga ginawa na mga katibayan, na mga recommendations upang sa ganoon, ito ay talagang mas supil natin ang pagpapatay. Ang masakit lang ng loob ko ay lumalabas na gusto ata ng karamihan ng mga kasama natin kung magkamisan ay lumabas natin na mayroong extrajudicial killing kahit na walang ebidensya. I'm sorry, ilan lang sa mga kasama natin ang sasabi niya. Pero hindi ko po kaya yun eh. Sumumpa po ako bilang abogado. Pinag-aralan po ako na you cannot charge somebody without evidence. Hindi porke gusto natin, yun ang katotohanan. Kailangan mag-present tayo ng ebidensya. Kung hindi mo na i-present ang ebidensya, sorry. Now, it doesn't mean, Mr. President, na porke nag-report kami rito, hindi na namin pwedeng mag-imbestiga uli. Lalo na kung may lalabas na ebidensya na ito, meron kami memorandum circular ni Bato, ni General Bato de la Rosa, na patayin niyo lahat ang pusher. Kung may maglalabas halimbawa ng President Duterte, I hereby order all the police to kill all the pushers. Labas niya yan. Iimbestigahin po natin yan. Hindi po tayo takot sa mga ganyang bagay. At yan ay hindi ho napatunayan, kaya tayo napapunta rito sa lugar na ito. Now, ito po ang isang gusto natin palabasin dito sa ating recommendations. Una-una, dito po sa tinatawag nating internal affairs. Kulang na kulang po ata tayo sa mga rekomendasyon na dapat natin ayusin, na dapat pag nagkamit ng kasalanan ng isang kapulisan laban sa taong bayan, tandaan po natin there is such a thing as the social contract theory. The social contract theory is an agreement na dapat pag binigyan mo ng tao ang kapangyarihan over the lives and property of a country called the police, sa Greek, mga tao, or police, dapat, pagka sila nagkamali, dapat mabilis. Hindi kailangan guilt beyond reasonable doubt for administrative hearings. Kailangan pwede silang tanggalin. Pwede silang isuspende upon summary hearing. Pero sa narinig namin noon sa mga investigasyon dito, mukhang pinatatagal at pinapahaba. It takes about 125 days. Ayan po, nakalagay. Bago tapos ang paglilitis ng isang kapulisan na nasasakdal sa IAS o sa IAS. Kaya sabi natin ngayon, ang ating recommendation po ay ito. Hindi po ba dapat bigyan na lang natin sila ng 5 araw? Nakita na natin yung baril, nakikita natin yung mga testigo, i-file na kagad at under the law, pwedeng tanggalin ng PNP, Director General o ng Regional Commander ang mga pulis sa saliwa o pasaway na pumapatay na wala sa lugar administratively. It doesn't mean that na hindi sila papayla ng criminal case. Mas mahaba yun. Kaya administrative hearing, summary hearing, sabagat ito ay patuloy sa prinsipyo na pagka ikaw ay naging traidor sa iyong sinampahan na proteksyonan at pagsilbihan ng tao, dapat bigyan ka ng mabilis na karampatan aksyon ng gobyerno. We will not be helpless, Mr. President. In fact, Mr. President, this representation, when he's still a mayor, realized that the mayors no longer had absolute control or a lot of control over the police. I even talked to President Aquino at that time, and of course, I know the law, sabi sa Constitution, only one police force, control and supervision shall be in the National Police Force. Pero sabi ko, hindi naman dapat kawawa ang tao dahil lahat maraming ginagawa na katiwalian rin ng ibang mga pulis. So ginawa po namin, ako po ay naglabi sa Congress at nalapasok po yung People's Law Enforcement Boards. Pero ano po nangyari? Sinakluban po yan. Walang nangyari. In fact, 88 cases lang in 1 year ang kanilang nilitis. Ibigay nyo naman nyo, lahat ng plebs meron sa bawat munisipyo or every third municipality or every province or every city. Pero wala nangyayari. Ibig sabihin, tila circle the wagons ang kapulisan natin o ang DILG pagka pulis ang involved. Ayaw nilang may embarrass mo ang presidente. Yun ang mali. The president will be enhanced pagka nakita ng tao na ang presidente hindi kinukonsente yung mga katiwalian ng pulis. At dapat pairali sa plebs, pairali sa Lapolcom, pairali sa PNP Director General na pwede matanggal ng pulis sa lalong madaling panahon after summary hearing. Hindi 125 days. Counter affidavit, at mapapatunayan, then mag-appeal sila kung gusto nila. In the meantime, the case should be filed. That is our first recommendation, Mr. President. Kailangan report within 5 days from time of the incident by the IAS. PNP may suspend the police, confiscate the gun, disarm the suspected police who fired the gun under investigation. It is already there, but it is not being implemented, Mr. President. At dapat, within 15 days, makapag-file ang kaso. Ano kaakibat ito? Kaakibat ito ay nakipag-usap po tayo kay Chief Justice Sereno At sabi ko, siguro dapat gumawa tayo ng court sa Kongreso o kaya kayo mismo mag-designate, create and designate special criminal courts for erring and abusive police alongside illegal drugs. Para nakafocus ang tao sa mga west na hawak ng kapulisan, nakafocus ang tao sa mga west na hawak ng drugs. Pangatlong recommendation po, create joint congressional committee to monitor killings and paramilitary units, Mr. President. Hindi parliamentary po yan, paramilitary. Bakit po? Lahat po ng ginagawang patayan dito ay nagiging statistic. Pero ngayon, yung Congressional Committee hearing, nakita ko si Congressman Umali dito kanina, Committee on Justice, dapat pagka may pinatay, every month, kinukuha yung statistic, pwede isubmit. Kailangan ibigay sa Congressional Oversight Committee on Police, Public Order, and Justice. Yung dalawang committee yan, para masasabi, tawagin mo, katulad ng pagtawag namin sa ilang mga kapulisan nung hearing, na pinaparap namin sila at sinasabi namin, bakit ang daming patayan dyan? Bakit 200 ang pinatay sa iyong jurisdiction pero wala ka nahuhuli? Sa kabila ng 306 million ang budget ng kapulisan para sa intelligence fund. Ba't wala kayo nahuhuli doon sa tinatawag na vigilante killings? Bakit wala kayo nahuhuli doon sa mga pinapatay na nakakabaron ng patayan ng mga pulis? So that means, hindi na makakalusot yung pwede na o wala magagawa ang citizen. Isinama natin ang executive, ang kapulisan, ang judiciary sa paggawa ng tinatawag na husgado para sa kapulisan, at sinama natin ang Kongreso para magtulong at para malaman na ng tao na may gagawing aksyon ang lahat ng hanay ng gobyerno para dito sa mga kasong ito. Malinaw po, ang gusto natin ay sarahan ang pagkakataon na yung killings with impunity ay matigil. At finally, magkaroon tayo at mabigyan natin ng lunas yung daing ng tao na walang kalaban-laban ang tao pagka sila ay pinapatay ang kanilang kamag-anak o pinapatay ang kanilang mahal sa buhay. Pati po plebs, ito po ay nilakad po natin dito at hinihiling natin sa Undersecretary of Local Government Secretary na malagay sa budget nila na magkaroon finally ng budget yung plebs na 100 million for starters this year. Para talaga makakakilos yung plebs at meron na namang another layer na kung sino mauna, pwede lang isolve yung medyo abusadong pulis sa kanilang lugar. Again, apart from taking a bow tie of crime, this is important. Alam po ninyo, kailangan ang crime dapat kasama ang tao para mapusa. Hindi kaya ng pulis yan. I would be unfair if I were to say the police are only the ones responsible. There's been apathy. Walang pakialam ang tao, patay ng patay, walang pakialam, hindi na nagagalit. Either natatakot o akala nila walang magagawa, walang kalaban-laban, and that is why we came out with plebs, we came out with all these laws, pero hindi pinapahiram. And therefore today, we will add another one. Yung sinasabing riding in tandem. Naku, katakot-takot po yan. Yung dalawang pulis na bumatay kay Miss Luz sa Mindoro. Riding in tandem po yan, nakabonet. Mabuti lang may nakakita at nahabol sila kaagad, kundi hindi nahuli yan, hindi nabaril yung isa doon. Pero ngayon po, para mapuksayan, ang sinasabi po natin, ito yung nabanggit ko na dati dito, nabawasan natin ang pagkakataon makatakbo, yung mga ganyang nakamotorsiklo. Lakihan po natin ang plate number na motorsiklo, ilagay natin sa likod at ilagay natin sa harap. Katulad po niyan, medyo liwanagan nyo ng konti, madilim yung litrato, makikita nyo malaki, hindi naman po pangit, at makikita nyo yung plate number kaagad para pag may bumarel, makikita kaagad, at kung walang plate number, pwedeng kumpiskahin kaagad, nakafile na po yung bill na yan. At pwedeng i-fine yung may-ari ng motorsiklo, at kung nawala at hindi niya na-report, pwede rin siyang i-fine. Sapagkat pagka may ganyan, magdadalawang isip ang papatay na tao kung gagamit sila ng motorsiklo. Kung lilipat sila sa mga jeep o bus o naman, lakihan natin ang body number ng plate number sa side ng jeep, sa likod ng jeep, sa loob ng jeep, sa harap ng jeep, para hindi makaporma ang papatay at gagamit ng anumang transportation sa pagpatay ng maraming tao. Napakarami na pong taong pinapatay ang riding in tandem, kaya tumataas palagi ang pagpatay. Nakakalusot eh. Impunity. Harap-harapan. Biro nyo, Araw na araw, papatayin, magkabilang kanan. Hanggang ngayon, makailan lang, may mga pinatay na naman. Ang ibig ko po sabihin, kung di tayo kikilos dito sa Kongreso, talagang ang mangyayari sa atin ay para tayong inutil at para tayong takot. Kaya kailangan rin, yung Land Transportation Office, kailangan lahat ng plate number nasa isang file, nandiyan na yan, at kahit na sinong police, detective, NBI, or even the local citizen, kung sabihin ng emergency, provided he says his name and his number, tumawag niya sa LTO, kung malalaman kung sino may-ari kagad nung ginamit ng motorsiklo sa pagsabi lang ng plate number, kung anong kotse ang ginamit, para makailaban kagad ang pulis. You narrow the opportunity upon which criminals can escape using motor vehicles. These are real proposals, Mr. President. Kailangan rin natin ng public information and education. Bakit po? Nakita po natin yung tokhang, hindi ko po sinasabing unconstitutional yun. Napagalaman ng committee, and I will credit Senator De Lima for that, na sinabi niya, walang abogado yung pinapaamin na sila ay drug pusher. Sinundan po natin yan. At sinabi ko, mali yan. Kailangan sasabihan ng tao, bago ka pumirma, meron kang karapatang o magsalita o tumahimik. Sapagat bawat sabihin mo ay pwedeng gamitin sa iyo sa husgado. At kung wala kang abogado, bibigyan ka ng abogado ng gobyerno bago ka pumirma. Dapat ituro yan sa ating mga paaralan at dapat alam ng bawat mamamayan sapagkat sa ibang bansa, tinuturo yung mga yan, kaya democracy becomes a real democracy. Napapalaban sila sapagkat alam ng gobyerno, alam ng tao kung ano kailangan gawin. People must be part of the process of change. Kailangan sama natin ang Parents Teachers Association. Kung sinasabi ng Presidente maraming apektadong drugs sa barangay, gamitin natin ang mga Parents Teachers Association para makatulong sa labanan sa krimen at para mapuksa rin ang drugs, Mr. President. Sa madaling sabi po, yung mga sinabi po natin ay talagang yan ang pakay natin dito. Yung pong tinatawag nating CHR investigations. Alam po natin lahat na meron tayong CHR sa konstitusyon. Nakalagay po sa konstitusyon natin na ang CHR ay pwedeng tumawag ng investigasyon, pwedeng mag-contempt, pwedeng mag-recommend ng prosecution. Nasa konstitusyon po yan. Kaya pag humarap po ang CHR dito sa committee natin, that is superfluity, sapagkat kaya nilang yan. Ang lumabas po sa CHR ay kalimitan ay yung mga pinatay nga po, at ito ay nakalagay nga, kung babasahin ko sa inyo ang sinasabi ng CHR, investigate sa Section 18 ng ating Constitution, Article 13, shall have the following powers and functions. Number 1, investigate, yan po ha, on its own, or on complaint by any party, all forms of human rights violations involving civil and political rights. On their own, therefore. Paano naman yung iladali sa committee natin? Si Senator De Lima ay naging Secretary of Justice, hawak niya ang NBI. Hawak niya si siya for 8 years. Pinagsama mo. Abay, may hawak niya sa cabinet siya. She had the ear of the President. Bakit nakalusot si Bato-Bato? Bakit hindi finailan? Bakit nakalusot si President Duterte kung yun ang pakay niya? Hindi ko ginawa eh. CHR siya. Pwede siya nag-imbestiga. In fact, meron pa isang investigador ng pulis na pinipilit niyang pihitin at bibigyan niya ng aumento na hindi na siya kakasuhan kung babaguhin niya yung kanyang testimony. Yun po, tamang-tama ang pangalan po ng pulis ay ayaw. Ayaw pumayag. Pero ginawa yan 2009. Wala pa po tayo dito sa Senado. So, madaling sabi po, the CHR, on its own motu proprio, or on complaint, by any party, all forms of human rights violations involving civil and political. Adopt its operational guidelines and rules and procedures, and cite for contempt for violations thereof, in accordance with the rules of court. Hindi ko po tinitira ang CHR. Mahusay po yan. O tinawag po rin natin yan. Una, medyo gusto kong respetuhin nila ang Senado sapagkat yung isang kanilang tao doon ay medyo lumabas at naging lapastangan. Pero kami po ng chairman ng CHR, tiga University of the Philippines po yan, ginagala ko rin yan. Hindi kami nagkakaigihan sa lahat na sinasabi, pero we respect one another as gentlemen, which is what we should do as Filipinos. And even if we check the records, he said he respects the committee, he respects what we're trying to do. But we cannot squeeze blood from stone. Kung ano sasabihin ng CHR, Dapat sinabi nila yan. Nobody was stopping them. Pinagsalita natin bandang huli si Chairman Gaston. At wala siyang sinabi na pwede bang i-present namin. Kung sinabi niya kung may i-present siya, sabihin ko kung may i-present, sige, tuloy natin. Wala siyang sinabi. Wala rin sinabi si Senator De Lima i-present yung mga testigo. Kamadaling sabi po, tinapos po namin yung hearing sapagkat ang framework kung saan kami inatasan na gawin ay naando na po. Ginawa namin yan. In fact, they can even grant immunity from prosecution to any person whose testimony or whose possession of documents or other evidence is necessary or convenient to determine the truth in any investigation conducted by it or under the authority. You have 11 powers and functions of the CHR, so much so that they can on their own, sarili nila, kaya nilang lumitis ng mga kaso involving extrajudicial killings. They don't need the Senate. They are a frontline agency. Frontline. Di katulad ng Congress, it is only in aid of legislation. That is why, Mr. President, my brief to the media, my brief to everyone in this country, is to read the report. Andiyan ang recommendation. Nagagalit ang tao, imbestiga tayo ng imbestiga. Wala tayong report. Kung po ay may report, lahat ng hinawakan ko sa Blue Ribbon noong araw, may report. May batas na pinafile. Ngayon po, may batas po tayong mga pinafile. Nakafile na po yung report ng committee. In fact, I can sponsor it right now if you like. Because that is the job. Under the Committee on Justice, we have already filed the necessary laws that we are recommending. At gagampanan pa yan. 1274, Senate Bill, Police Court Act of 2016. Senate Bill number 1275, strengthening the IAS Act of 2016 by Senator Gordon. Meron pa po yung iba, yung creation ng courts. At ayun na nga, yung creation ng courts. Meron pa po tayong ipa-file na iba pa. Sa madaling sabi, yan po ang ating nilagay sa abot nating kakayahan. Ngayon, kung hindi po gusto ng ibang kasama natin yan, we will respect their opinion. But please do not call your fellow committee members garbage. You stay within the fold. Pinaghirapan yan. 125 pages ang pinaghirapan. And I can prove, ayan ang bill po, ayan. Ayan ang mga bill, tatlo yan. Meron pa darating pang iba. I'm sorry, upulitin. So sa madaling sabi po, we did our job. It hurts me, and I'm sure it hurts other members of the committee, na ginawa namin ang trabaho namin. Araw kami, nagtrabaho kami. Kung hindi natin ma-prove yung gusto natin, hindi tayo parang bata na maglulupisa sa isang sulok at mag-iiyak. Spoiled brat ang tawag doon. So dapat, mag-senador tayo true to his form. We call each other gentlemen. We ask, will the gentleman yield? And you can all talk to one another. You don't have to walk out. You can use parliamentary rules to say, Mr. Chairman, may I ask for a minute's recess so we can talk about it? Mr. Chairman, point of order. May we go back to the orders of the day? That was not used. It's either short-sightedness or the lack of, or the ignorance thereof, of knowledge of the rules in the Senate. How to operate in the Senate. Hindi dapat mag-walk out. Hindi dapat magbumura sa labas. Hindi dapat babaguhin yung resulta sa labas. At dapat dito magbago, mag-file tayo ng bill. Maglabas tayo ng bagong ebidensya. Ako po, I'm a team player. I will defend the Senate. Pagka tayo ay tama. I don't take it upon myself as the knight champion of the Senate. But for so long as I'm chairman of the committee, we will defend our work. It is no joke, Mr. President, na kami ay magpupuyat, pati staff ko, sumusuko na halos, para malaman lahat ang dapat alamin. Pero trabaho rin dapat nung nag-aakusa. Hindi kami nag-file ng bill. Ang nag-file ng request for investigation in aid of legislation ay si Senator De Lima at saka si Senator Trillanes. They have all the right to conduct the investigation. Ayoko na magdagdag pa, baka magkainisan pa. Hindi naman kailangan eh. Pero kaya ko pang dagdagan yan. Pero hindi ko na sasabihin. Pero sabihin ko po sa inyo, Mr. President, this is a sincere act on our part. And to prove to you how sincere we are, you have heard me call the President, do not fall on your own sword, Mr. President. I said that in open hearing. I said that the children are listening. You don't have to make a lot of noise, Mr. President. I've said that time and again, that the President must watch his language, that the President cannot be seen na nagsasalita na patayin ito, patayin niya. Sabagat alam naman natin, ang Presidente natin masyadong passionate. Kung sabi sasabihin, sa susunod na araw, babawiin. Ang sinasabi ko, hindi po pwedeng tatagal yung ganyang panutuntunan ng Pangulo ng ating bansa. Hidalal siya ng maraming tao. Pero hindi po pwedeng sabihin na lamang na kung ano sasabihin niya tapos babawiin sapagkat delikado po yan. I will read in case some of us have not read it yet. And this is the only time I will read here. The dispositive portion, not because I do not like the President, or I like the President. And let me quote, epilogue of the summary, executive summary. A word of caution. Loose lips sink ships. Kung masyadong madaldal tayo nung panahon ng World War I, nasa submarine torpedo attack yung mga barko. Kung masyadong masalita ang Presidente, baka magamit pa sa kanya, laban sa kanya yung sinasabi niya balang araw, kung siya ay dadali sa International Criminal Court. I hope that will not happen because it embarrasses the whole country. And let me just say this, as a matter of advice, not only to the President but to all of us, and I quote, mahilig tayo mag-quote ng Biblia, ako naman po hindi naman religyoso, pero yung nakikita kong magandang salita ng Panginoon, sasabihin ko dito. Quote, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Proverbs 3.56. Tinitingnan ko po ang ating pastor dito na nakaupo ngayon sa tribuna, na si Senator Villanueva, kung tama po ba yung sinabi ko. Mukhang hindi niya alam, Absent ka ba ng tinuro ng talaga?
It's not point, Your Honor. It's chapter and verse.
Ayun,
Chapter 3 verses.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, thank you. Talagang magaling talaga itong pastor natin. Nakorek pa ako. A word of caution to the President is warranted. Isang salita sa ating Presidente ay kailangan natin gawin. While there is no doubt that he has the country's best interest at heart, when he wages war against illegal drugs and criminality, his ways and methodology may not be readily understood and acceptable to all. He thus should seek to epitomize a man of the law, siya ay abogado, and be an exemplary role model. All presidents must be role models in word and in deed. Ayan po, mababasa nyo, sundan nyo lang ako. In word and in deed. Leaders raise the values and performance of a people. Now, the President needs to be mindful of his role as head of state and be careful with his words. Avoid inappropriate statements lest they be construed as policies of the state. There may also be accusations of tolerance hurled against him because of the overwhelming support he gives to the police, manifested by his colorful language against drug pushers, may be perceived as a condemnation of the violations of human rights and due process that the police are committing in the guise of putting an end to the drug menace. While the people recognize his fearless naming of generals and prominent personalities, including politicians and judges, protectors of drug lords, due process must still be observed. The accused deserve their day in court to prove their innocence. While he has gained the admiration of many for his no-nonsense style, he will further national interest if he bears in mind that he must be not only a force for good, but perceived to be so. Children, listen to him. He both has a local and an international audience who scrutinize his every move. He will all the more maintain the trust of the people when he transforms into a leader worthy of emulation in every sense of the word. The President should likewise not just account for the misdeeds of the police, but raise their standards of accountability so they become paragons of protectors of the people. When the police violate the law, they must be punished. The doctrine of command and responsibility obligates the President to take necessary and reasonable measures to prevent the commission of an illegal act or an irresponsible omission, and to punish the perpetrator. Uncorrected or unpunished, even when they have erred, the police may believe that they are above the law. When the police deem themselves to be omnipotent, they are emboldened and more killings ensue. The duty to protect the people is thrown out of the window. The offshoot will be silencing accused drug pushers and drug lords without affording them the Bill of Rights guaranteed them by the Constitution. In turn, the accused, fearful of their lives, arm themselves and fight back without resorting to the legal processes. The result is public disorder and the waning respect for the rule of law. Civilians must be dissuaded from taking the law into their own hands. They must be empowered to become part of the change without utterly disregarding the law. And I put this in bold letters. The war, ang giyera laban sa illegal drugs, kailangan may panalo sa loob ng sistemang legal, within the legal system. And the President must lead in reminding the people of this important message. After all, he has sworn as President of the Republic to faithfully and conscientiously fulfill his duties as President of the Philippines, preserve and defend its Constitution, execute its laws, do justice to every man, and consecrate himself to the service of the nation. Serving the nation entails doing justice to every man, even if he is a drug pusher or a drug lord. By all means, we must support the President for his resolute stand against illegal drugs, as well as our police force, who are at the forefront of the war against illegal drugs and criminality. The people will not follow a president who has lost the legal and moral high ground. We just have to do things right and within boundaries in a regime where the law is supreme and where there is justice for all. The time to act and end the impunity of killings is now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Gordon, Chair of the Committee on Justice. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we open the period of interpellation.
The motion is,
On the committee report.
is there any objection? Chair is none. The motion is carried.
Senator Trillanes has reserved to interpellate, but with the indulgence of Senator Gordon and Senator Trillanes, if you do not mind, I move for a 1-minute suspension for this representation to accept to accept the Speaker of the House and the Committee on Justice in the Congress here on the second floor within our gallery. So a 1-minute suspension, Mr. President.
Any objection? Chair is none. Session is suspended.
Took exception to an action made by Senator Trillanes as he entered the floor earlier. The message of Senator Trillanes to me when he said that, when he somehow pointed at Senator Gordon, is that he said he wanted to be the first to interpellate Senator Gordon. That was what he told me when he entered, as he pointed to Senator Gordon. Just for the record, Mr. President, to set the record straight. So at this point, may we ask Senator Trillanes be recognized to interpellate the committee report sponsored by Senator Richard Gordon.
Yes. Senator Trillanes is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senate Majority Floor Leader, for the clarification. May the Senator yield for some questions or some clarifications regarding the committee report?
Willingly to my colleague from Bicol, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, to be honest, I was almost impressed by the sponsorship speech. Almost because it sounded like an opening statement for the counsel for the defense of President Duterte. At any rate, the bottom line of the committee report is wala raw ebidensya. Ngayon, ito yung malaking problema because the whole world naaalarma na sa nangyayari sa ating bansa, pero dito sa komite na sana siya ang instrumento na maglabas ng katotohanan ay naudlot dahil abruptly hininto ang proceedings. Sabi wala raw ebidensya. Hindi walang ebidensya. Kung hindi, maaring hindi ka nag-imbestiga. So yun ang aking pananaw dito. Not only because merong 9 CHR witnesses na hindi man lang naisalang, yung 2 CHR witnesses na maliwanag na sinasabi yung participation ng state actors. Maliwanag din na nung nagsimula ng committee hearing, 3,000 pa lang yung namatay, pero ngayong nag-sponsorship speech siya ay 6,000 na ang namatay. So, ano ito? Coincidence? O may pestilence na dumaan sa ating bansa? Kaso ito open sources lang. You don't even need to dig deeper. Open sources would show that you have video recordings of admissions to include the campaign promise and actual policy pronouncements of President Duterte to kill Filipinos in this drug war. That's 1. 2, ito ay ginagawa ng state actors, particularly the Philippine National Police. Sinasabi na nanlaban, quote-unquote, kasi ito na yata yung pinakamaraming nanlaban sa period ng kasaysayan ng ating law enforcement history. Na in 6 months, 3,000 yung nanlaban. Na, kumaga, you have to be monumentally stupid na manlabang ka pa rin, na alam mong pinapatay at wala talagang nakakalusot. Sabi ng Reuters, 97% kill rate. Pangatlo, meron pang video nung Cavite police na yung isang OFW ay na checkpoint ng police, kinabukasan, patay na. May balot na sa muka at nakalagay, drug addict, huwag tularan. So yun, captured on CCTV. It wasn't even mentioned dito. Puro general na sinasabi na dapat the EJ case must stop o ano man. Then ito yung mabigat. Based dun sa principle of command responsibility or based on the definition ng crimes against humanity, yung lack of any policy to stop and prevent the EJ case. Yun ang mga nagpapatunay na ito ay state-sponsored. Dahil pinagmamalaki ni President Duterte na man of action siya. Kung gusto niya, sabi nga niya, mahilig siya yung stop it, S-T-O-P, stop it. Di ba? As if the world will actually stop, pag sinabi niya yun. Pero wala kayong maririnig na sinabi niyang stop EJ case. Di ba? Kasi ganito yan. Sinabi ko yan doon sa committee hearing kay General De La Rosa. Coming from the uniformed services, rigidly hierarchical ang organization. Pag may nagbigay ng command, hinto mo ito, hinto yan almost immediately. Alam yan na ating kasama na ni Senator Lacson. So, sinabi ko, bakit hindi binibigay yung order na yon? Kahit tignan nyo sa transcript, sabi ko, binigay mo na ba yung order na yon? Hindi daw. Bakit? Kasi precisely hindi yun yung policy. Ang policy ay yung sinasabi mismo ng presidente. Hindi to hyperbole o nagpapatawa, hindi. Kasi 6,000 na yung nangangamatay. And this is the sad part. Karamihan doon, petty drug pushers, users, na hindi mo nga alam, criminal ba ito mga ito o hindi. Then, ito'y mabigat, yung mga innocent bystanders. And worse, yung mga identified drug lords, like yung kanyang kumparing si Peter Lim, na nakita do sa picture in so many occasions, a few at least, talagang they know each other. Malayang-malaya ito si Mr. Peter Lim. Di ba? So, may kita mo ngayon dito yung hypocrisy of this war on drugs. So, itong sinasabi rin kanina na meron daw impunity na nangyayari kasi marami daw riding in tandem, maraming vigilante. Akala ko ba safer na tayo dito? 6 months na nakaupo itong presidente na ito. Sabi ng isang kasamahan natin, malapit na raw tayo maging Singapore. Hindi ko na nga nakikita lately, baka tinamanan ng kidlat because of that statement. Nakakakilabot para na raw tayong Singapore, safer na raw tayo, and yet, dito sa, itong findings na ito na hindi mo alam ano ba talaga, meron o wala. Sinasabi may impunity ng riding in tandem. Meron bang nag-imbestiga? Meron dun sa mga hearings dito, hiningi yan palagi ano yung reports, sino yung mga salarin dito sa mga namamatay na to. Walang ibinibigay. So ibig sabihin, ganun ang ka-impotent ang pulisya natin. Hindi naman siguro papayag si General De La Rosa. So hindi kaya, dahil precisely yun yung policy, again, which makes it state-sponsored, because yun yung sinasabi mismo ng presidente. Then, meron tayong insidente, yung sa Mindoro. Yung sa Mindoro, merong nahuli na riding in tandem na mga dalawang opisyal ng pulis. Nakakapatay lang nila ng isang tao. State actors again. Sino may attempt ba man lang na ipatawag ito? By the way, nag-file ako ng resolution in this regard. Ipatawag itong mga ito para malaman kung bakit nila ginagawa yun. Di ba? Hindi pinatawag kasi precisely ayaw mag-imbestiga. And, yun na nga, no? Itong IAS, yung Internal Affairs Service, na papakinggan ko yung sponsor, palaging hinihingi dun sa Internal Affairs Service yung results ng mga investigation ng mga sinabing nanlaban. Kasi moto proprio, dapat may investigation pagka pumutok ng barel. Hanggang ngayon, wala. Wala ban lang na sasabing ito, mga dinismiss sa serbisyo, finailan ng murder, etc., etc. Wala. Bakit? Again, precisely because it is the policy to kill. Ito nga, itong mga sinasabi nilang or that makes it state-sponsored, itong EJ case. So, ayan yon sa first part. Now, pupunta tayo dito sa sinabi ng sponsor na nagkaroon daw ako ng bad behavior. Ang sinight niya rito, yung dahil pinaalis ko raw si Mr. Matubato. Well, just for the record, and the transcripts actually would bear me out, nung pumunta ako dyan sa hearing na yan, I explained, I manifested the reason why I made that judgment call. Sinabi ko, alas 5 na madaling ng umaga, doon si Edgar Matubato sa holding room, alas 8:30 na ng gabi, my security officer recommended na siya ay ibiyahe na at delikadong bumiyahe ng late. Ako, tinitignan ko sa proceedings, may 16 na pulis na nakasalang. Alas 8:30 na ng gabi. Anyway, merong scheduled hearing ng October 4, 10 a.m. So sabi ko, pwede siyang paalisin. Kung ano man itatanong nila, edi isa lang nila ng alas 10 na umaga. Pero, apparently, hindi yan yung script. On the hearing before that hearing on October 3, nagkaroon ng manifestation dun sa committee na to prove na talagang or to test the credibility of Mr. Matubato, ay siya yung unang isasalang daw para ma-identify niya yung 16 na pulis. Kasi they were so sure na ito daw si Matubato ay parang isang tambay lang sa kanto na pinulot. So, siguro iniisip nila, this guy can't possibly point to the right person. Di ba? So, kaya confident sila. But, lo and behold, nung nakausap nila, yung 16 na policemen, umamin na kilala pala si Mr. Matubato. So, therefore, they risk showing to the public and bolstering the credibility of Edgar Matubato by letting him point to the different policemen correctly. So ngayon, anong ginawa? Hindi siya isinalang kaagad. And I manifested. Teka muna. Bakit nung last time, ang pinag-usapan ay siya yung mauuna, pero nagbago na ihip ng hangin. Precisely kasi maalam nila na ma-identify ni Edgar Matubato yung 16 at masisira yung script. So ngayon, ang sinabi niya sa kanyang sponsorship speech, sana man lang ay nagbigay ako ng kortesiya na pinaalam sa kanya. Kortesiya pala eh. Bakit mo sasabihing bad behavior? Kortesiya. And I explained it dun sa committee in open hearing, and I explained it to you privately. And you didn't raise hell after that. None of the other senators protested or rejected my manifestation. So, ano ito ngayon? Di ba? This is just to put me in a bad light, Mr. President. So, yan yung sinabi. Tapos, sinasabi na ako daw pumunta doon sa kanyang opisina at nag-apologize. Well, let me state for the record, Mr. President, hindi ako nag-apologize. Sinabi ko, pasensyahan tayo. Don't lie, Senator Gordon, because yan ay bad behavior. Sabi ko, pasensyahan tayo at very passionate tayo. So, gano'n na lang yon. And akala ko gentleman yung kausap ko. At we even shook hands and
Excuse me, Mr.
parted
Chairman.
amicably. I'm not yet finished.
Mr. Chairman, is the
Mr.
gentleman
President.
delivering a privileged speech, or is this a matter of interpretation, or is
Well,
this
you
laying
just
the
have to-
predicate for a question? Because he has multiplicity
I'm
of
laying the
questions.
predicate for multiple questions, Mr.
Just a
President.
point of order, Mr.
I still
President.
have the floor, Mr. President.
Just a point of
Still
order,
have
Mr.
the-
President, if he knows the rules. An
I still have the
interpretation
floor.
means you ask questions. and
Session is suspended for 1 minute. Majority Leader,
We're ready to resume, Mr. President.
session is resumed.
Mr. President, I'll just finish this point, then I will continue the next point after yielding the floor again to the sponsor. Anyway, Mr. President, do sa hearing na yon, in fact, I was just being generous and kind sa kanya dahil napahiya siya eh. He was asserting na may material concealment, pero I read to him yung transcript na si Mr. Matubato mismo, siya ang kausap, sinasabi sa kanya yung kidnapping case because Matubato wanted to prove na totoo ito si Sally Macdum. To the point, sabi niya, totoo yan kasi finailan niya ako ng case no 2002. So, nung napahiya na, suddenly, naghanap-hanap na ng ibang lusot. Akala ko tapos na eh. Tapos ngayon, babalik ta rin pa ngayon. Sabi ko, hindi naman pwede yan. Kasi we can review the video kung ano yung sinasabi mo nun. At ano yung sinusulat mo dyan. Now, just one last point about the DDS. Dito sa DDS, we were trying to establish a pattern of behavior. Kaya namin nilabas ito si Mr. Matubato. In fact, inadmit na ito ni Mr. Duterte sa interviews na siya, totoo, may DDS, totoo, pumatay na siya ng tao. He admitted so many things. Kumaga, ano ba to? His words do not count? So anyway, aside from his admission, ito ngayon si Matubato. Ito yung background ng tao. Si HDF, sabi, CAFGO, sinabi niya, si HDF siya when corrected. He wanted to say yung CAFGO, kasi yun yung term na ginagamit ngayon, pero si HDF siya when he entered. Itong si HDF, wala kang makikitang records nito kasi localized ang recruitment nung panahon nung martial law. Si HDF siya. And in fact, kinonfirm na ito nung dalawang pulis na testigo nila. At least two of the 16 policemen said and confirmed na CAFGO ang pagkakilala nila kay Mr. Matubato at meron siyang M14 at may granada. Naka-fatigue siya dun sa kanilang opisina. So, that makes you wonder. Nandoon siya nakapagpresenta ng dokumento, nandoon siya sa City Mayor's Office from 1988 to 2013. Anong ginagawa niya doon? Nataga-timpla siya ng kape? Maari. Or striker siya? Maari. Pero may problema eh. Meron siyang lisensya ng baril eh. And yung baril, galing doon sa kanyang handler, si Las Cañas, kompleto ito ng dokumento. Tapos meron siyang appointment orders sa Heinous Crime Investigation Division. Ito grade 1 lang siya, he admits that, pero doon siya naka-assign. Kompleto again ng dokumento. So, it didn't merit the committee report of the sponsor, pero it's all on record. Plus, meron siyang 2002 kidnapping case na inassert niya, totoong may kidnapping case doon mismo sa Davao City, Finailan. So kung may kidnapping case ka, yung isang empleyado mo, kidnapping case, dapat tinanggal mo yan. Pero hindi. Precisely kasi nga, that's their job. Yun yung kanilang mandato. And similar yan dito kay Superintendent Marcos na untouchable. So yun yung pattern na makikita natin. Tama rin siya yung Laod dump site, pati yung description paano pinapatay, in-affirm niya ng Supreme Court. So, kumbaga, there was no reason not to believe him. Pero, kakasuhan siya ng perjury on one side, pero pakakasuhan din ng murder on the other kasi pinaniwalaan yung admission kay Matubato, ay kay Sally Macdum. So, twisted yung logic dito, Mr. President. You cannot admit or believe portions of the testimony and dump the others at the same time. So, then si Las Cañas and the 16 policemen admit
to working with him dun sa heinous crime investigation unit. They cannot even explain bakit siya nandoon. Di ba? So, kung itinuloy lang ni Senator Gordon yung hearing niya na October 4 and October 5, then we would have grilled yung 16 policemen na yon at makikita ng taong bayan kung sino yung nagsasabi ng totoo at hindi. At ngayon, just to inform the body, ito pong si Edgar Matubato ay kinasuhan after nitong mga hearings, appearance niya rito, kinasuhan siya ng dalawa, no? Isang frustrated murder at isang kidnapping and murder. So, kung ito taga-timpla lang ng kape, bakit hinaharas ito ng administrasyon? Bakit ini-issuehan ng warrants of arrest? At bakit interesado silang iligpit si Mr. Edgar Matubato? So, ito, Mr. President, hindi man lang nabigyan ng puwang dun sa committee report. So, yun siguro ang magandang itanong kay Senator Gordon.
Is the gentleman done, Mr. President?
Yeah, yes, he raised a question.
What is the question? Because there were many points, many spins being...
Well, precisely, Mr. President, maraming butas. So, yung mga butas na yon, nilabas ko, I wanted to explain. Yung paano niya ipapaliwanag, paano niya i-reconcile yung mga inconsistencies na yun and contradictions, Mr. President.
The chair stands by its committee report, Mr. President, to signed by 11 people. Some reserved, some said they will dissent in part, and some they say they will agree in part. We're not perfect, but nonetheless we stand by it, and except for the fact that we don't spin yarns on the matter of some of the questions raised here. The fact that the Ombudsman itself, on January 21, 2016, before President Duterte took over, said that there was no evidence or nothing to prove that the Davao Death Squad existed, and that they dismissed the case filed at that time. So I didn't even know about it until now. According to a letter sent to CHR by the Office of the Ombudsman in January 2016, and I quote, a disposition approved by the overall Deputy Ombudsman, Melchor Arthur H. Calandang, showed that no evidence was gathered to support the killings attributed or attributable to the DDS. Therefore, the investigation was closed and terminated. So, Mr. President, you have a frontline office of the government like the Ombudsman, frontline office like the CHR, and the Department of Justice, and the frontline office called the National Bureau of Investigation. And they had all these witnesses when they were at CHR, DDS. I know that we're good in the Senate, but we're not that good because we don't have the legs to make all these investigations. And we can only go by the framework of the resolution filed by Senators De Lima and the distinguished gentleman from Bicol. And therefore, that's what we addressed, that there was no evidence sufficient to form a belief, no evidence presented that there was indeed a Davao Death Squad. There was no evidence sufficient to form a belief that it was state-sponsored. And you heard me say that earlier, Mr. President, that if there should be evidence to show that in fact you can present, that you can connect it, then fine. But I cannot be held to task on something that we accepted in the committee. Sure, you know, for example, much is said about Mindoro, about those two policemen. They were captured, Mr. President, and it was Senator Lacson and myself that exposed this at the time. And the fact that they were captured, and we got agreement from the, don't need agreement, we told the police chief at that time and General Bato de la Rosa that they should investigate this. In the same manner that in Cavite, we also told them that they would investigate. We are not a police investigation, Mr. President. Unless you want to change the charter of the Committee of Justice, in which case we can conduct that investigation as policemen. there are people assigned to do the job, and we're not going around it. The point is, the framework of the investigation was clear, and we did not receive any evidence. So you cannot squeeze blood from us. We already agreed, and I agree with the gentleman. There have been so many killings in this country, and in fact, the title itself speaks for itself. We must end these killings with impunity, and that is why we provided all the necessary recommendations. Now, of course, later on, evidence may be presented to show that. Then, so well and good. But right now, there was no evidence presented by those who filed the resolution to show that. Besides, Mr. President, when you talk about Mr. Matobato, you know, I know that we all try to respect one another, including the gentleman. We waited there. We conducted marathon hearings. The police were there, and they were waiting also. They came from Davao. Nobody tried to hide them. All the subpoenas that were given to them, the invitations that were given to them were, of course, by Senator De Lima to the chair, and we invited all of them. When we do not get the kind of answers that we want from them, or rather, Senator Trillanes doesn't get the answers that they want from them, he has no call to say that they're lying unless he can prove it. But the fact of the matter was, it was proven. It was Matobato who was lying. In fact, Mr. President, I have already cited that, and I will not repeat it again. On the matter of me being embarrassed, excuse me, Mr. President, I was very clear. The concealment was very clear to me, that the people, that the cases that were filed against Mr. Matobato, and I was then laboring under the, the impression that according to Matobato, Macdum was a terrorist. And that's why they killed him. My suspicion is that, and I didn't put it there, is that it was a business that did not push through, and so he was killed. Why would he now say he admits killing him, Mr. President? Why would he admit that after 2 sworn statements saying, first, he's not part of it. Second, he saw the killings, and finally, he said, binikti ko at pinagsasaksak. So, Your Honor, nagbabago even with that very vital matter. And by the way, Mr. President, as I said in my sponsorship, Mr. Matobato was charged by the NBI. It wasn't Macdum, because Macdum appears to be dead already. There's no corpus delicti. Upon the complaint of the wife of Macdum, the NBI investigated, and they filed the case against Mr. Matobato. And in that case, several other people, other than the policemen that were brought in, whom Mr. Matobato alleged were the perpetrators. That was the material concealment. Because otherwise, we would not have gone through all that wild goose chase. That if we had known that it was not the same policeman, why go through all the motions, Mr. President? But nonetheless, we did go through the motions. And that's not the only place where he lied, and I already stated that. So, Mr. President, there is no disrespect on my part. When I say there is material concealment, that was brought about by the fact. And I'm sure some of the members of the committee were there, including Senator Soto. Senator Lacson was really red in the face, and I've never seen Senator Lacson so upset when he found out that Mr. Matobato had left. Because after all, we were all waiting. And also, Senator Pacquiao said, terminate it. There was calls for suspension of the hearings. And I said, what did I say? I said, no, it was just an oversight on the part of Senator De Lima. I was defending Senator De Lima. Until all of a sudden, dumating si Senator Trillanes, and an immediate change of personality occurred, and right away, things went haywire. And she walked out. Mr. President, I cannot answer for the acts of my brothers or my sisters or my brethren here, but I will try to respect them as often as I can. It is far from me to say I will accuse my fellow senators here of lying. There are several witnesses who saw Senator Trillanes come to my office. Why would he go there? And Senator De Lima later on, it was because I had said I would file an ethics case. And because of that, I did not file an ethics case anymore, Mr. President. And when I was asked, I said, tapos na yan, huwag na natin pag-usapan yan. At least give me that respect. If you don't want to give me that respect, I will understand. I know where you're coming from. But, Mr. President, I don't try to pick fights. And I don't try to make up yarns. Gave me a duty, I did not want it. I was tasked for it. And I did my best. If my best is not enough to the high standards that Senator Trillanes says for himself, I'm sorry. I'm not as great as he is. That's my answer, Mr. President.
Okay. Well, Mr. President, regarding my supposed visit to his office, okay, granting without conceding totoo yung sinabi niya, in his own words, sige, tama na, tapos na yan, wag na pag-usapan yan. And then, isusulat mo rito sa committee report mo? Anong klase kang tao?
Please address the President, the Chair.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. President. I think that
So,
should be done.
yun yung ano rito eh. Yung duplicity na hindi ko maintindihan eh. And again, I was so clear, hindi ako nag-apologize, Mr. President, kasi siya nga yung mali eh, doon sa episode na yon. And again, the recordings and the transcript would bear us out. Now, going to Mr. Matubato,
May I ask you,
sabi
Mr.
niya
President?
yung
Kasi mahaba yan eh. I just asked you that point.
Well, Mr. President, just on this point, conflicting daw yung statements ni Matubato kay Sally Macdum. And yet, doon siya pinapakasuhan ng murder because the sponsor accepted the word of Mr. Matubato. So, even now, siya ay conflicted and he's contradicting his statements. And yung sinasabi niyang pinatay daw si Sally Macdum, kasi ang sabi ni Matubato, foreign na terrorist ito. Pero based on the suspicion of the sponsor, ano daw ito? This is just a land agreement na nagkabulilyaso. Suspicion alone. Wala siyang basis in fact whatsoever, pero siguro ganun kagaling ang ating sponsor, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the remark. Magaling ako, and I'm humbled by it. I just want to say, Mr. President, that when we said that Matubato made remarks, it was Lascana who said that they both made 800,000 pesos from land deals, Mr. President. It's in the record. And at the same time, Mr. President, it was the NBI that charged them for kidnapping with murder. And it was a kidnap affair. So it was not part of whatever goblins there are, whether they're Davao Death Squad or whatever. What is clear is that these were different personalities that were concealed from us. They had the affidavit, we did not. And if it had been shown the affidavit, we would not have gone there. Now, Mr. President, I am accused that what kind of a man I am because I put this in the testimony. I did not even recommend ethics case, Mr. President. You know, when Senator Trillanes came to me, the following day, right after that apology, there was a headline in the newspaper that Senator Trillanes was attacking me and the committee. Mr. President, if I were to go into habit, you will recall that while we were hearing, Mr. Trillanes goes in here and starts attacking the way we were conducting the hearing, and I objected to that, as the majority floor leader will remember. So, Mr. President, I respect Senator Trillanes. I try to be as friendly to him as we can. When a senator comes to your office, you stand up, you greet him, and when he says, I'm sorry, tapos na yan, tapos na. When you wake up the next day and you see the headline, tapos na pa rin. Wala na akong inangal, hindi ko na sinagot. And then, throughout the hearings, you know, Senator De Lima would say something, Senator General would say something. Well, I am just reciting what happened, Mr. President. This is a recitation because it goes into the essential elements of this investigation. When Senator De Lima says that he brought in Matubato, Mr. President, they would have us believe that he is a very honorable witness. in fact, Mr. President, at that time, we found out that he had a pending warrant for illegal possession of firearms, for which he was arrested afterwards, Mr. President. They would have us believe that Batubato, a self-confessed killer, describing how he did it after lying twice, and saying that, admitting that he killed him by stabbing him several times, they would have us believe that Batubato is an honorable man. They would have us believe that this guy, Batubato, and hide behind grade 1, and yet he was able to say that he was doing land deals. They would have us believe that, and Senator Lacson corrected him, that Batubato was telling the truth when he said they were killed in McDonald's, and Senator Lacson himself said, I know, he was killed in the office. So, Mr. President, forgive me, maybe I don't see something that is invisible to me, but visible to Senator Trillanes. I wish I could believe him, but I cannot. And that's the way it is. Just like Mr. Pacquiao and I, he says, why don't you agree with the death penalty? Because I don't agree with the death penalty, and let's leave it at that. I cannot change his mind, Mr. President. I cannot change the distinguished gentleman's mind. He has made up his mind, and perhaps a word of caution and a word of advice. Just because you say it doesn't mean it's the truth. Just because you allege it doesn't mean it's the truth. You have to prove it. Evidence must be proven. And here, in this particular instance, Mr. President, we're all senators. And we'd like to say that today we may disagree, tomorrow we become friends again. We lawyers know that. But obviously, we cannot continually go into this, because if we do not agree, so let's say I agree with him and say, oh, may extrajudicial killing sponsored by the government. What are we going to do next? Are we going to impeach the President, Mr. President? If you have the evidence, we will impeach the President. But what I can do is, there is nothing said about the recommendations of the committee. Nothing is said in restricting the ability of IAS from extending investigations ad absurdum and ad nauseum. We're now saying 15 days. Tell us if that policeman did it in violation of the rules on self-defense, in violation of the rules of engagement. We made the proposals, Mr. President, to make sure that a special court be created, so that beyond that we can have guilt beyond reasonable doubt established. And we also said, how many of us are aware? How many times has the chief PNP ever dismissed a policeman, Mr. President? We are demanding that. In fact, in the last hearing, I told the PNP chief, you must do something about Leyte. Well, look at what happened. Finally, the Leyte chief of police, Albuera, Espirito, has been removed. Then, the Secretary of Justice disagrees with the President. And he says, no, we're going to go with it. I expressed my chagrin. I expressed I was disturbed with the President. I am with him. Perhaps you can agree with that. Nobody wants people being killed, especially me. I spent a lot of my childhood or my young adulthood going after injustice, Mr. President. But, Mr. President, when it comes to this sort of thing, we must be sure that we present ourselves in the proper demeanor, in the proper addressing of, when we make an investigation, we can only do what has been presented before us. I would have wanted it if Mr. Trillanes comes out and says, I have here a secret document that shows President Duterte ordered the killing of the following people. I have here a document that shows it's a policy of the PNP Director General to tell his policemen to kill everybody. None of that was presented. And of course, it's going to be very hard to get that. But the important thing is, take a look at the epilogue. I think it says what I feel. And hopefully what the rest of the committee feels, because they signed it in part or in dissent, in favor or in dissent. I think nobody will disagree with the epilogue. But at least, Mr. President, we did our best. And if our best is not enough, again, in accordance with the highest standards that Senator Trillanes has set in the Senate, before, during, and after, Mr. President, then I'm sorry, I cannot, I'm sorry, I'm short. I'm short of that.
Mr. President, well, just to clarify, the incident that the senator was talking about regarding after our conversation in his office, then the following day, during some media reports, I made some statements. Those interviews were done in the morning before I went to your office. But anyway, what's done is done. That visit was supposed to have resolved that issue, but apparently it did not. Then, as to the so-called McDonald's statement of Edgar Matubato, again, it's clear in the transcript that he was narrating what was told to him. He wasn't saying it as an eyewitness, but it was a narration to him. So, ano talaga?
Then,
As
Mr.
the-
Chairman, that is hearsay.
As the senator,
This cannot be
precisely,
accepted as evidence.
but it should not be used to discredit him. Now, the senator said that it's not visible to him what I'm seeing. Well, it's so clear to me, Mr. President. It's so visible because my eyes are open. Apparently, some people still have their eyes closed, despite the fact that we have 6,000 people killed already, and this committee report basically cleared the man that could have stopped it at least, or killed the man who was responsible for it. That's my beef with this committee report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. President, you've heard me time and again, and I don't have to repeat it. I don't find it enjoyable to attack the President of this country. I find it my responsibility to remind him once in a while that he's the President and that he must say things properly. I find it well within our rights as citizens of this country to say that he must always forget that children are listening, or that there is a matter that he must address, which means that he must not even give a scintilla of encouragement that people should be killed. I have no evidence to show that he is ordering them, and that's why I'm confined to that. I will not be a dog barking at caravans passing through the night. I would like to make sure that if there is an evidence that we can show, Mr. President, we will do so. Mr. President, the whole Senate and the whole country is aware of the fact that before this representation took over that committee, it was absolute bedlam. Mr. President, you saw microphone grabbing. You saw intimidating statements being made. And all of us were aghast at this sort of behavior, Mr. President. And that is why a change happened. Mr. President, we must be careful when we represent our constituents here, because we are seen as senators speaking for the people, and we come from the people. And Mr. President, when you do that sort of thing, Mr. President, the Senate acted. There was change. But it cannot be said that we did not allow Senator De Lima and Senator Trillanes or any of the senators. In fact, my first rule was, if you are in point, go beyond your 10 minutes. Pursue your point. Because, Mr. President, in the short time that I've been in the Senate, in my first term here, I've seen the points lost because we have to abide by the civil minimums of 10 minutes, and then it's over. And the point is lost. If we cannot continue your point of attack when you're conducting cross-examination or interpellation, the point is lost. In this affair, Mr. President, we allowed Senator De Lima, wide strip. We did not stop her. We did not say her time is up. Same thing with Senator Trillanes. Unfortunately, Senator Trillanes was going in and out, and I presume that he was listening in his room, and that's giving him the benefit of the doubt, which he's entitled to, Mr. President. I don't raise it against him. But there can be no doubt that when we conducted the hearings, there was wide statement. I wish that Senator Trillanes had presented more cogent evidence, more clear evidence that what he says is happening. Again, I would advise, just because you say it doesn't make it true. You have to go through the ropes of gathering evidence. And if we cannot gather evidence, you know, your words that come out of your mouth will be used as a judge on the depth of your character.
Well, Mr. President, we would have wanted to, but the sponsor and the chairman of the Committee on Justice canceled the hearings scheduled on October 4th and the 5th. And he didn't even field or presented the 9 CHR witnesses already there. So, what is the sponsor talking about that we didn't present anything?
May I ask that, Mr. President?
Gentlemen on the floor, I think for the past over an hour, we have been debating back and forth on this issue. The chair would request the two gentlemen to go to other topics rather than because this has been sufficiently put on record. So I appeal to the gentlemen to, if there are still questions on the substance of the report, put it on record. Otherwise, maybe our other colleagues may also want to take the floor on the period of interpretation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm merely answering the questions as best as I could. And just a short answer on the matter of the CHR. The record shows that the CHR were presented right away. After 2 presentations, Mr. President, they immediately shifted to Matabato. And then we went all the way to the policemen. And then when we examined the records of the CHR, Mr. President, witnesses, it showed that there were all complaints against police actions, but no evidence that shows that there is a pattern of an order or a policy being undertaken, Mr. President. So that's how we looked at the evidence, and if that is an error, it is the privilege of the senator not to sign the committee report, and I laud him for that. He has to do things in accordance with his beliefs, and I'm not going to have an argument about that, Mr. President.
All right.
Well, Mr. President, just to give way to the other senators who would want to interpolate, this representation would be submitting a much more detailed dissenting report to the body, and I would like to reserve some time for future interpellation.
All right. So noted.
And
That would be appreciated, Mr. President.
Majority Leader?
Mr. President, yes, the minority leader wishes to be recognized.
The Minority Leader is recognized.
Yes, Mr. President, just a point of order. Can we make amendments to the committee report?
Certainly.
Thank you for that, Mr. President.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. Just a small point, if the gentleman will allow, and perhaps his committee may be able to verify this. In your slide, you presented that there were a number of killings in 2016 and bigger number in 2014 and 2013, Mr. President. And then it has been mentioned every now and then that at present there are 6,000 deaths or 6,000 killings, 6,000 for 2016, 6,950. That will include the so-called DUIs, and that will include the drug operations of the police. Can the committee verify the information that I have gathered? And this is according to a very reliable source of mine. The PNP has already this investigation going on, and yours truly, being the president of the Philippine Narcotic Enforcement Officers Association, has been given the information that out of the 6,950, there are only 3,000 or less, a little less than 3,000 that are drug-related. Apparently, the others are plain murders. They are not related to the drug trade or the drug operations of the police. I hope the committee can verify this information.
Yes, Your Honor. These are statistics by the Philippine Statistics Commission, if I'm not mistaken, so far as the title is concerned. Philippine Statistics Authority and the PNP. Now, Mr. President, you will note that the 2016 figures are in the area of 8,000. That's because we have not finished the year, and that we did not count the first part of January, February, March until July. And I agree with the distinguished gentleman that many of these killings are vigilante, which they call DUI, or some of them are drug-related, but not all of them are drug-related. So if you say there's a drug war, many of these killings involve vigilante killings, if you will, because they've never been investigated, and that there is still a significant number of drug-related killings between the police and the drug pushers, and understandably so, because, as I said in my statement, the drug pushers are preparing themselves for battle. They bear firearms. One of the things that I failed to cite here so that they would not be used again in the future was that a recommendation that all guns confiscated must be surrendered after the case is finished and destroyed, so that they cannot be used as planting of evidence, for planting of evidence.
Thank you. Anyway, I just wanted to get the committee that information that we have received. So, Mr. President, I move that we suspend consideration of the committee report number 18, because there are a number of members of the Senate who have made reservations to interpolate the committee report. So, for the record, Senator Laila de Lima has informed my office that she will present a dissenting opinion to the committee report. So we will await that before we move for any approval of the committee report.
Yes, Senator Pangilinan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. In relation to the manifestation of the Majority Leader, this representation likewise will submit a separate opinion as member of the committee, for the record.
Noted. Just for the record, after the interpellation, any member of the chamber may submit amendments to the report, and it is up to the chamber to act on those amendments. Likewise, also for the record, there is a dissent submitted by Senator De Lima, which is also included in the order of business. Yes. So, upon motion of the Majority Leader, consideration of committee report number 18 is hereby suspended.
Chairman, just a manifestation, if I may. This committee worked very, very hard, and members of the committee, such as Senator Lacson, or who's the chair, and many others who attended, worked very hard for this, and I'd like to thank them. And all our staffs, because our staffs really worked very, very hard, day and night, to try and get the evidence that would make, or that would justify our presentations. I just wanted to thank them. And that I'd like to thank every one of those who will want to issue a dissent. This is a free country. This is a Senate of the Republic of the Philippines. Anybody can come in and make their dissenting opinion and interpolate. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. President.
This presentation is killings with impunity, a time to act. Ayan po ang nakalagay dyan, 2001, murders and homicides totaled 9,000, 2002, a total 10,000, 10,000 in 2003, 2004, 9,859, and so forth and so on. It spiraled to 2009, where they had 14,295 killings, 2010, 12,353 killings, 11,000 plus in 2011, in 2012, 11,500, 2013, 16,160 killings, and 2014, 13,105, 2015, 12,481, and as of November or October at the time, 2016, we had 8,499 or 4,409 killings, Mr. President. or a total of 177,000 killings over a period of almost 16 years. So killings, there are aplenty, Mr. President. Marami talagang pinapatay. Ang tanong, meron ba nangyayari? Sari-saring patayan ang ginagawa. Noong araw, panahon pa ni Mr. Marcos, ang sinasabi, meron tinatawag na salvaging. Napakarami po niyan. Wala rin tayo narinig na resulta ng investigasyon. Meron tinatawag lately, yung tinatawag lang riding in tandem by motorcycles. Thousands have been killed by riding in tandem, but rarely do we hear any solution to any investigation, except very recently, and I applaud the police of Mindoro, they captured 2 policemen, one a lieutenant, and awarded one at that, who killed a crusader by the name of Luz in Mindoro, and they were captured by fellow policemen in the next town. And you can see the Manila Bulletin presentation there showing that motorcycle riding in tandem assailants killed the Citizens Crime Watch Regional Counsel, Ms. Zenaida Luz. The assailants were 2 policemen, Mr. President. And we investigated that. Mr. Lacson, Senator Lacson, and I both made presentations to that effect, and that was taken up in the hearing. So killings, there are plenty, no doubt. Killings solved, very sparse, Mr. President. And this is where we go to the crux of the matter. We have created laws here in this country which require, if it is a police-related killing, for an example, the creation of the IAS. But the IAS, through the years, have become IWAS. Request upon those who were asking me to do so, and I said reluctantly I accepted, was to include Senator De Lima as a member of that committee. There was no other recommendation made by this representation at that time, and I just want to remind the body that that was my only move when I accepted it, my only request, so that the credibility of the Senate will not be stained by partisanship. Having said that, Mr. President, we embark, as I said, on 6 hearings. And let me just say that in my executive summary, I said, kinakailangan mapuksa ng gobyerno ang patuloy na paglaganap ng patayan sa ating bansa sa kasalukuyan at sa mga nagdaang taon. Kailangan alam natin, mga Pilipino at pati na ng buong mundo, na tayo ay may pagpapahalaga sa buhay at dignidad ng sinumang tao at may mabilis na katarungan para sa lahat. Sa ganitong paraan, may babalik ng tao ang tiwala at kumpiyansa nito sa pulis at sa gobyerno. Quote-unquote, Mr. President. Now, Mr. President, I do not have a prepared text. I was just told that I could sponsor it today, so pardon me if I deliver this extemporaneously, which has been the usual thing coming from the heart. And having had 6 hearings, after knowing what has happened, we will deliver that as I present it. Mr. President, we were called upon to investigate whether indeed there were rampant and, killings in the country. And indeed, we said yes. But we went the extra mile. Is there a state-sponsored killing? And if we're to look at that, we have to look for evidence to show that there was testimony to show either that President Duterte or General Bato or the Department of Local Government had given orders verbally to some people in the department or among the police forces or among any other group that they're ordering it as a matter of policy. Second, Mr. President, there was no presentation on the part of those who presented the witnesses. And I will say this. When we took over, Mr. President, we did not miss a beat. There was a scheduled hearing, and we continued on with the hearings. We did not postpone. That is a matter of record. We continued with Mr. Matobato. And for the record, Mr. President, Senator De Lima, when she started the hearings, called on some witnesses allegedly coming from the Commission on Human Rights, or coming from the Human Rights. And after it resumes, President.
Session resumed.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery, my fellow citizens, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Great pleasure and honor to be here this afternoon to present before the floor our joint committee report of the Committee on Justice and Human Rights, jointly with the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, chaired by Senator Lacson. Mr. President, this is an offshoot of the resolutions or the filed by Senators De Lima and later on by Senator Trillanes on the matter of extrajudicial killings. And I quote, a resolution directing the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights to investigate in aid of legislation the recent rampant extrajudicial killings and summary executions of suspected criminals, to strengthen the mechanisms of accountability of law enforcers, and to institute corrective legislative measures to ensure full respect for basic human rights, especially the right to life. That is the title of the resolution. That is the framework upon which the committee, later on, which succeeded Senator De Lima, embarked on its mission to investigate. Later on, another resolution will be filed after presenting a witness that had no affidavit, Mr. Batubato, filed by Senator Trillanes. And it says, under 151, resolution urging the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the alleged extrajudicial or summary killings purportedly committed by the Davao Death Squad with the intention of coming up with remedial legislation to ensure the protection of the people's basic human rights and their rights to life and the observance of due process of law in the government's conduct of its campaign against terrorism, drugs, and street crimes. Acting on that, Mr. President, there were 6 hearings conducted by your committee. The first 3 hearings were conducted by and under the supervision of Chairman, at that time, the Honorable Senator Laila De Lima. After 3 hearings, a change was undertaken, and reluctantly, I accepted the committee chairmanship of the Committee on Justice after Senator De Lima was removed in a reorganization of the committee. The only person I recommended in that committee, Mr. President, and it was 2 testimonies were given, immediately she went into calling a new witness, in spite of the fact that there were others in the Commission on Human Rights, supposedly witnesses. And when we studied the affidavit, they were all witnesses to killings, Mr. President. There was no proof, no scintillo evidence to show that there were orders made by any member of the government, especially those who make policy, that there was an order to commit extrajudicial killings as a matter of policy. And so we went on with that, Mr. President, and when this representation took over, like I said, we continued with the hearings and presented all the testimonies of people that were invited. In other words, these were the witnesses of Senator De Lima. Initially, they said these were not his witnesses, such as Mr. Batubato, and eventually it was proven, and she would admit later on that she was presenting it. In fact, Mr. President, Mr. Batubato is no stranger to Senator De Lima, and vice versa. Mr. Batubato was a witness under the Witness Protection Program in 2014, when Secretary De Lima was still Secretary of Justice. And when he left, Secretary De Lima was still there. He left the Witness Protection Program, and as you know, being a former Secretary of Justice yourself, Senator Dillon, you know that the Witness Protection Program requires that the witness be released from being a Witness Protection Program by virtue of a signature showing acquiescence by the Secretary of Justice. Having said that, Mr. President, Senator De Lima was aware that there was a witness such as Mr. Batubato. Having said that, she was also CHR for 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years, and Secretary of Justice for 6 years, or almost 6 years, until she decided to run at the latter part of 2015 when she filed her certificate of candidacy. Having said that, Mr. President, let me just put it this way. We found that tens of thousands of people have been killed every year since 1999. And if we are going to cite extrajudicial killings Mr. President, it is a known fact that the State Department of the United States of America has been sending us missives to the Department of Foreign Affairs about extrajudicial killings perpetrated in the country as early as 1999. In fact, if you look at the statistics, and that is why the title of this, iwas po na mag-solve ng crime ng police under amendment under Republic Act number 8551. At ito po ay hindi ginagawa ng IAS sapagkat katagal ang kaso. Actually, it takes about 125 days. Siguro naman po, alam ni Senator Diligan, because nanonood siya doon sa hearing, nagtatanong siya, na nung pinatay yung Albuera Mayor, ando ng baril, ando ng extraordinary amount of force, 24 policemen, ando ng ebidensya, pinaluhod yung mga pulis at mga gwardya, ando yung ebidensya na pumasok, ang nagbarilan di umano, nakuha yung baril, nakuha yung mga bala, nakuha na dalawa, pinalabas muna nila yung preso, at tinepok, pinatay si Mayor Espinosa. No matter how bad one is, we are still a government of laws and not a government of men. Hindi po sinunod yun. Pinatay rin yung isa. At nakikita nyo, yan ang naging daan na naglakas ng loob na ang ating maraming mga kapulisan, hindi lang ilan, kaya nasabi pa natin po na bago yun, pinatay rin sa Alvarez sa kulungan, pareho ng modus operandi, may search warrant di umano na hindi naman kailangan, sapagkat yan ay hindi kailangan sa isang pitan ng gobyerno. Pinatay rin yung isang mayor doon sa pareho sa baybay 1 week before, pareho, pero hanggang ngayon ang iwas pa rin hanggang sa maunahan na ng National Bureau of Investigation. Kaya makikita natin ang problema ay yun. Madali po natin sabihin sa committee, o sige, ayan, payag na kami extrajudicial killing, payag nga ho kami, pero ang tanong ko sa inyo, papayag ba kami na sabihin natin wala namang katibayan, wala namang ebidensya na sinasabi na ito ay policy ng ating gobyerno? Bago po tayo magsalita niyan, tandaan po natin na pag sinabi ng Senado na may extrajudicial killing na sanction ng gobyerno, automatic, merong repercussions siya sa buong mundo. Masisira ang ating gobyerno. At pati na rin ang Senado, masisira sapagkat naglalabas tayo ng ebidensya rito ng isang conclusion na hindi covered ng ebidensya na nagpapatunay na ito ay talagang ginagawa ng gobyerno as a matter of policy o isang pulisiya ng gobyerno. Wala po kami nakuha dyan sa tinatawag na ebidensya na kailangan natin. Ganun na rin po doon sa dangerous drugs law. At ito ay gusto ko sanang pakinggan nyo maigi ang aking sasabihin. Paano po ba nag-umpisa ito? Bakit nung ma-appoint si Secretary De Lima, mahalal siya na Senator in charge of the Committee on Justice,